It's a great privilege and honor to welcome Harry Derbitsky to the 3PSE this Sunday, the 2nd of June, if I don't miss my point. Anyway, Harry is a wonderful man, and it's become a great friend of mine. We haven't met like for a couple of years, so it still seems like yesterday. So just want to say that it's a great feeling to have you here, Harry. Harry's bio is he is the president of ACT, Advanced Coaches Training Incorporated, which specializes in projects and trainings in these major areas, which will follow. Diversity, including African, Muslim, and Indigenous Native American, addicted and low-income communities and projects. He's also been working with mental health issues, educating and counseling, mentoring as well. He works in Zoom rooms all over the world and have sessions worldwide, including Africa, North America, Europe, Asia, Oceania, and South America. His understanding is expressed via his insights regarding the three universal principles of mind, consciousness, and thought, as uncovered by his teacher, Sydney Banks, who stated in the book, The Missing Link, all human behavior and social structures on Earth are formed via mind, consciousness, and thought. I warmly welcome you, Harry. It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. So the topic we're going to talk about is the topic of my latest book that I just released called My Statement on Life and Dreams. And I wanted to try and express to people how life works and how dreams work as I have experienced it. When I was 27 years old, I had a very huge spiritual insight on Salt Spring Island, of course, facilitated by Sydney Banks in a way. But I didn't actually break through to sharing on the purity of the principles until I was 69 years old. That's a long time that I was evolving in. And during much of that time, I felt I wasn't growing much at all. But when I reached that tipping point, I looked back and everything was perfect. Everything that you're doing is designed by the spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, perfectly. For you, I thought I wasn't growing, but I was picking up skills and understandings that were needed when that tipping point reached, where all of a sudden life became easy to share, where life came to me instead of I was trying to create. And now I've evolved into working in Africa with about 25 projects. My team is helping thousands of people, not hundreds, thousands of people in the three principles with an understanding of their two big questions. Can I be happy with when I'm poor? Because I'm working with a lot of refugees, a lot of people who have nothing. You have so much. I have so much. Of course, we complain about that. I want more, but they have nothing. But can I be happy without that? And they're very, very religious. The white man came and colonized their minds. And they colonized them with the technology and the Christian belief. And the Christian belief is very, very, very powerful. So they're quite a bit ahead in terms of spiritual aliveness within. They have picked it up because they're partially indigenous. And when I say partially, the white man came and tried to wipe it all out. And so they don't have any, like our North American Indians, they have a history, stories, languages. They don't really have much of that at all. They're Christians. And within that feeling, they wanted to answer this question. And this is why 3P is taken off there. If I have such strong faith in God and a live feeling in God, why am I sad? And so we answered that question through the 3 principles. And they connected the love of God and the role of thought into one. They didn't separate it. Spiritual, psychological, one. And they cut the feeling. See, they had the faith in God or spirit or mind, whatever word, just words, guys, words. But they didn't connect their thinking to mind. And because they didn't connect, once they heard how easy thought is, within 15 minutes, so many of them just got it. North Americans and Scandinavians, Western world, were more psychological, and we think about this and think about that. But the feeling, the spiritual feeling, supersedes all that. In actual fact, the spiritual feeling is before you thinking all the time. It's the thinking that has messed up our world. Every war, every injustice, every bad feeling has been created by your thought. And you have a war going on inside there. But with the understanding of the 3 principles, you find peace of mind. You say, well, I don't have peace of mind. Well, at 27, I had an enormous spiritual insight. I had the #1 teacher in the world, and I still went through divorce, bankruptcy, and a host of career failures that you could write a book about. But there was one thing that happened through that. I didn't give up. That's it. And what carried me through? I'm going to tell you what carried me through, because there were a lot of people on Salt Spring that heard Sid's message, and then they got happier and they're living beautiful lives, but they're not sharing. They're not living the dream. What allowed me to live the dream and they didn't live the dream? What will allow you to live the dream for you? I can only tell you what it was for me. For me, what carried me through all that tough, that personal thinking, I'm not doing it. I'm a failure. Life is not as good as it should be type of stuff, was I cared about other people's suffering more than my own. That's what worked for me. I always saw that Sid, I was looking for an enlightened human being. Sid, I met many, didn't seem to be enlightened to me. So, of course, I never continued listening to them. But Sid, he was enlightened. And he had the ultimate answer to all suffering. I knew that. I just couldn't figure out how come I couldn't be happy, type of thing. And then one day, I just stepped into the silence for about 4 years, and I noticed a lot of the baggage dropped off. I wasn't working on it. I wasn't trying to get better. What I was doing was I was simply trusting the positive feeling of life, following the energy of life. And then when the tipping point came, I just followed my nose. Good luck happened, And for the first time, I didn't think about it. I just let it happen. And then more good luck happened. And I didn't think about it. Before everything that happened, I would get it in my mind and make a big thing and understand all the aspects. And I stopped doing that. I just followed my nose. It seemed like there was a divine guidance system if you don't interfere with it. And that's the trick. You are interfering with your natural evolvement into the spiritual world. With do I have yeah, I just don't. It's not very important anymore, except when I need it. And so you start to see magic happen. And so I went from working with Indigenous people. You see, I followed my own path. I didn't follow the psychologists. I didn't want them. They were boring to me. This problem stuff. What do I want to, who cares? That was me, you know. And so I went into the mystical nature with the Native American Indians. That was where my mind was at. I wasn't interested in a psychological answer. I wanted a spiritual answer. What is my relationship with God? My relationship, not Sid's, not Thomas's, mine. And who am I? Not who is Thomas or Hannah or Bo. Who am I in that relationship with God? And what is my relationship with God? And so I went from there. And then all of a sudden at 69, I had a talk with God. Now, a little bit different than you might imagine, because you got to remember, I'm in the mystical world of the Native American Indians, and it's a different way of talking to God. You could say it's the intuitive inside feeling, if you want to use it in a. And I said to God, I said, you know, God, I got no complaints. Life is fantastic, so peaceful, but it's so quiet. I'm getting a little bored. You know, it's just too quiet. I love what's happening and stuff. I said, I wouldn't mind a little something to share with what I know. This is the truth. I went to bed, 9 o'clock. I woke up, 9:01, the phone rang. And a guy said, hi, Harry, remember me? You taught me 10 years ago. I work on Main and Hastings. Vancouver has a huge drug and homeless problem. Huge, not small, huge. And he says, I'm working there. And I once a week, I meet with these people who come off the street and in this government facility. And I've been offered another job. Can you take it over? And I went, ooh, addiction. I hate addiction. If there's anything I'm like, I wasn't great at anything, but addiction was like the all-time loser stuff. But I had just talked to God. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. You know, give it a sort of a unenthusiastic, yeah, I'll give it a try. And I went there and I loved it. I had changed. I wasn't trying to fix them anymore. I was just talking to the feeling that I had, a new feeling, a spiritual feeling. And to my surprise, they loved the freshness of it, the newness of it. It wasn't AA. It wasn't what they were hearing all the time, the psychoanalysts and stuff. And they started to laugh, and we had a great time. We got into spiritual talking. And all of a sudden, I had this field. Nobody in 3P wanted to talk to me about Native American Indians because they don't understand them. So they're frightened by that. It has to be this way. Don't ever listen to that. You know the way. You find the right way. There's no right way. There's a creative way. Yes, not a right way. There's not, 3P teaches it, the psychologists teach it their way. I don't teach it their way. I didn't learn from them. I learned from Sid, the master, the creative force of the universe. Not, you got to do this and do that, develop rapport. I get rapport easy with people. I'm such a jackass that people like me, you know? It's just natural type of thing. So I break all that stuff down really quick. You know, and I tell a lot of bad jokes. It really works well, I'll tell you. Really, really fantastic. Nothing better than a stupid joke. One guy, he's in this group I had developed, mental health group I developed, he has all this chronic pain, and he goes into the hospital. He says, I'm in the hospital again. I have to waiting an emergency. And I go, well, have a good time. And he breaks out laughing, you know, because it's so stupid. He's in the exact opposite situation, and he has to wait for hours even to see a doctor, let alone have a good time. But of course, when he laughed, guess what? That's the healing. The light feeling, the positive feeling. That's your job. People come in bummed out. And what are they bummed out about? They don't like their thinking. And what do you tell them? You can't control that. You can't. You think I'm controlling this? You kidding? Who? I'm just Harry. I don't control this. If you think, so people say, oh, you're a healer. I say, I'm not a healer. God heals or spirit heals. I don't do nothing. I know who I am. Take my word for it. So all of a sudden, because people didn't want to talk to me about the Indigenous, now I'm in addiction. Everybody wants to talk to me in 3P. Oh, this and that. But then we took it into new areas. So I wrote 2 books on that. And then when it was over, the same day, my hope, 3.5 years, my co-host and I, the same day we knew it was over together. And we agreed, and we just finished the season. I knew something would come in. And then I was teaching Omar Ben Mosa, coaching him, and he had no money, which is, by the way, mostly my crowd, although sometimes I train psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors and so on, smart ones who really want to learn something new. And so I said to him, well, you'll pay me in spiritual currency. And he says, well, how about we do a Muslim show together? I go, ooh, that's a big crowd, and nobody's really doing it. And then I did that. And then it turned out Omar was more interested in 3P than the Muslim, and I was more interested in the Muslim than 3P. So I evolved into being the training manager back to the FITRA Mentoring Academy in the addiction department. I, the Jewish guy, in the Muslim women world, 40, 50 countries, and I'm the training manager of them, Jewish no less. Never a problem, never a problem. The world has problems, concepts, ideas, beliefs. That's garbage. It's just garbage. I have learned 3 words. Oh, and then, just as that was going, when I started my book, my statement on life and dreams, it was my statement on life. But then Africa came. Bukisha, who was the leading light in Naka Valley refugee camp, which is in southern Uganda, 120,000 of them. He has a school there, and he contacted me on Facebook, writing. Within 15 minutes, he had invited me into the project. I brought in 3 of the women from back to the FITRA, 3 African women. from Nigeria, Uganda, and Senegal. And we started to train the people. And now we're in Southern Africa, we're in Southern Uganda, Northern Uganda, and we have 4 programs in Kenya. No marketing. No marketing. No, they come to me and I pick which ones are they interested in money or are they interested in the 3P? That's the big question, eh? If they're interested in money, they're not going to really get the 3P. They have to show purity. You have to have pure thought to be inside, obviously. If it's convoluted, no, can't work. And so I went through all those years, from 27 to 69, thinking, oh, these other people are doing, Dickens doing this and Elsie's doing this, but not me. But what happened was when the tipping point came, I simply looked at my life almost like a flash, and there wasn't not one incident that wasn't perfect. I needed skills that weren't ready. We didn't all, when we listened to Sid, arrive at the same level. Some already had houses and jobs. I had none of that stuff. I had the stupid idea that good ideas and hard work was going to make me successful. How stupid could I be? But that's what I thought, type of thing. And so I had a lot of stuff. And I had a strong mind, which, by the way, was very unique. So I had a unique relationship with Sid, much different than Elsie and Chip had, that others had. But Sid loved it. And then when I went into the Native American Indians, he says, oh, you're a smarty pants. You found a niche. And that's what I've been good at, finding areas that other people aren't competing in or don't know about. I'm really good at it. Now, how did I learn it? Because when I was trying to support my family, I needed money, and I was always poorish, and so on. So I'd have to knock on doors. I learned how to knock on a lot of doors to try and get a client. Well, I got to ascertain which one was interested in me and which ones were just pretending to be interested in me. I got really good at it. Well, that's what I'm doing in Africa, except they're knocking on the door, and I'm really good at ascertaining which ones are really interested in the principles, really want to help them, or they just want money, or they have their own ideas of what they want to do. And all of a sudden, 3P in Africa has arrived. We have conferences. We just did a conference last Sunday with Dickon. I did not ask Dickon to come on. Dickon asked me if he could help. He picked up on the energy. Nobody else in 3P has picked it up, but he has. And so we threw this conference. And who's the stars? Is Dickon the star? No, the 3P in Africa educators are the stars because they got the spirit. They got the wake up, people. Don't stop following those icons. Follow the energy, not the image. Learn from those who know, not from those who have the belief. And it changes. Sometimes somebody's picked up an insight and then they flop down. Well, when they flop down, you don't want to listen to them anymore. You have to see that. You have to see who has it. And I became something. Now, why did it take me so long? to get to that tipping point, you have this. My number one biggest problem was I worshiped the man rather than the message. I didn't change until Sid died. You know why? I had to say, oh my God, I can't phone him up and get a boost. I wonder what I know. That was my starting point again. And what woke me up? So now I was starting to share again to see if I knew anything, because I was always worshiping. It's because of Sid. It's because of Sid. It's because of Sid. Not me. Sid. And then came the real tipping point. I'm sitting watching, my friend Marty Lipsky comes over, and we spend the day together, and he brings in a new talk. Elsie and Chip are talking about the genesis of the three principles, and I'm listening to them. And all of a sudden, a thought pops in my head. I wonder what it was like when I was really listening to Sid. And I went right back there. And guess what was waiting? Never went away. What you heard with your insight, it's still waiting for you. When you're going to be ready, you'll come back. It'll say, what took you so long? I says, well, I've been thinking. Yeah, I've been busy thinking, that type of thing. And all of a sudden, I went back there. And I started all over again. They had all these talks by the psychologists. I never had listened to any of them. So I started to learn from what was it. But the psychological was a lot easier to pick up than the spiritual. Spirituals were the juices, guys. That's where you are. The psychological is just an expression of the spiritual. It's just the way the Western mind has grasped hold of, I got a car. Wow! Type of thing. Have you got love? No, I got a car, type of thing. Woo! I can drive fast, type of thing. You know about love? Well, love, that's an esoteric topic. Money, that's important. So this spiritual awakening, second time, or fourth time, or 80th time, whatever way you want to look at it. And then all of a sudden, all the things that I had been working on fit together. When the spiritual understanding of your relationship with God became clear. So you got to get that together. You're not trying to become a better person. You become a better person when you go inside and live inside. In the 4 years I lived in silence without money and stuff like that, really quiet life, all this baggage dropped off. I hadn't worked on any of it. The only thing that didn't drop off is what I was working on. Goals, bullshit. Are you trying to tell me you know what you should be? Come on, be honest. Yeah, you know from here to here, but what about here? No. And you say, well, that's easy for you, Harry. You're doing all these incredible things, and you've got expanding projects, and everything is happening. Like, I'm just applying my common sense to these projects. How can I be the head of 25 projects? Because I don't think, I just feel. So here, a question came up, and it's been 2 weeks thinking about it. Now a question comes up, I spend one feeling and move on. 2 weeks saved. Which is easier? Do you want to be stressed out Or do you want to do it right? It's up to you guys. I can't, come in on here, Thomas and I did this incredible seminar in 2018 on a baron's, I don't know, huge acreage with a castle and the oldest church in Sweden. It was amazing. He never knew how much it lifted me. It was so gorgeous. It was so amazing. I walked away, I just taught at a castle. It was just amazing. And the grounds. And then we'd meet the baron and his mistress, and they were amazing and stuff like that. And it was all catered, no less. Actually, Swedish food is pretty good. Do you know that? Yeah. And I like to eat. I like to eat. It was just amazing. And get this, guys, when we're sharing, we had about 8 or 10 people. When we were sharing, Thomas was doing a lot of the teaching, and he was emerging. He doesn't realize how much he learned from that. He still hasn't grasped how much he learned from that. One day he will. One day he'll say, actually, that was pretty cool. I knew something. And that's the trick, guys. With our beliefs, we hold ourselves down. How come I had such a big spiritual insight when I'm 27 and I was so in, out, bump, in, out, in, out, in, out? How come? I had a lot of opinions. Sid didn't change the opinions. God changed the opinions. At a certain point, I started to realize the thing that was holding me back was my own personal opinion. We're taught that's the power. That's the bullshit. In Swahili, I know 3 words. Habari, hello. Asante sana, thank you very much. And Yajinga, bullshit. That's all I know in Swahili. That's why it's all I need to know. The world is full of Yajinga. Face it, accept it, and then take a look. Your world is full of Yajinga. Your personal opinion. You have a lot of Yajinga. And here's the good news. So does everybody else, including yours truly. Lots of Yajinga. You don't listen to me. You listen to you, the feeling inside you, before the Yajinga. And if you don't, you have to live in the Yajinga. See how it works? Palestine and Israel. Yajinga. Refugee camps. I worked Naka Valley refugee camp, 120,000. Kakuma in Kenya, 300,000 to 500,000. Who put them there? And what are they living? And now we have this alcohol department that we've developed. I'm a specialist in addiction, so I know more than anybody in 3P about it. And so we developed an alcohol department. They're doing it all for free, helping hundreds of people get off drinking. Because in Africa, because of the poverty, the enormous drinking. I know you Swedes like to drink too. I get that. I've been to Denmark and Sweden. You definitely have good beer. It's a shame. Your guys are a pain in the ass. The beer is really good. I'll have to admit. And you have really good schnapps and all that type of stuff. And and so on. But they're drinking like nonstop because they have nothing to do. No work, no nothing. So the alcohol, 4 people in the department, 3 of them, heavy drinkers, totally stopped. Can't even stand the smell of alcohol. teaching, training for free, starving. Now we're going to try and build a department where we're actually going to see if anybody will help them so that they can get just to live with some food, you know. But you could see why they're so good. See the suffering? If you're in suffering but have risen above it, you can help people in suffering. If you have it soft and cushy like you Swedish people have, it's hard to have compassion for other people's real problems that they have in life. And in North America, 1,000 times worse. In North America, Americans, me, and me. That's as far as it goes. They just have no collective feeling at all, except we will kill other people who disagree with us. They have that feeling. Jinga. Yeah. But we have the answer, the ultimate answer to all suffering. The ultimate answer to all suffering. It's very simple. Very, very simple. Go inside. Stop believing in all this nonsense. But love who you are. See, what the Africans have, they have the love of God, but the breakthrough is loving themselves. Do you love yourself? Do you love your thoughts? I mean all your thoughts, because thought is pure. It is only us with our personal mind, our ego mind, that creates our personal reality and what we see. Example, you have a tree. The tree is a spiritual fact. It's there. Bo will see the tree and say, oh, that's a beautiful tree. Look at the beautiful leaves. It's fantastic. And Harry comes in a bad mood and says, oh, look at, there's a dead leaf there and there's this thing there. And before you know it, the tree is an ugly tree. That's your personal reality of how you're creating your impression of the tree. You think you're doing it for yourself too? Is Bo doing that for himself too? Bo is great. Bo is full of shit. Boo, 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 boo. I'm only mimicking myself, Bo. You understand that, type of thing. It's just, that's an impersonal observation type of thing. So your little mind, with its thinking, interprets the spiritual purity of thought, the way God designed it perfectly to give you free will to see the truth, to feel the truth, to act in the truth. And that's Native American Indian teaching. Every thought, every feeling, every action is sacred. Are you living it? And here's the good news. You can't be perfect. You're a human being. But the joke is you have to forgive yourself for being such a pain in the ass. You got to see it for the truth, guys. That's Israel. If the Muslims change, then we will have a solution. Jinga. When you change, you will have a solution. And you will only change if you have a positive feeling. Remember, Sid said, only a positive feeling is the path to God, or mind, whatever word you want to use. I'm into God now because the Africans are really into that word. So that's why I'm using it. It's very interesting that a non-religious person should have such success with Muslims and Africans, but not with Jews. No chance. They won't listen to me. I mean it. They won't listen to me. Type of thing. And they believe. They're the chosen people. And the Christians believe we are the chosen people. And the Muslims think we are the chosen people. I got news for you. We're all the chosen people. Yeah. They go to church on Sunday and then they kill their fellow man on Monday. Ooh, really good Christians. you know. Man has lost his way. And we're here to tell you that you have free will to self-correct, to adjust to the mistakes we have made, to forgive ourselves, and to experience a positive feeling. Because we understand the psychological side of how a thought creates a feeling. We have that understanding. But if you don't connect it to the spiritual, you're not teaching Sydney Banks. Sydney Banks is the teacher of the three principles. All the others are lower levels, and 3P is growing at its pace. In my opinion, not doing the greatest job in the world, but making a difference, making a contribution. But I have not done Africa with any of the psychologists. I didn't need them. You don't need them. You just need your own connection. Learn to trust your own feelings, and magic will happen. So my book started with my statement on life. Why did I call it that? Well, everybody else has put their bullshit out. I figured I should put mine out too. And then all of a sudden Africa came, and then I said, oh, there's a dream. And get this, Bo. It's not a dream of what I thought. It's beyond what I thought. That's the dream. Beyond what you want. Like I had the wildest dream in the world. I would become a teacher of the three principles and have healing effects on people. I knew it was possible. I just wasn't, it was in and out. It was very sporadic and not too successful. So that was my dream. But I never expected to be a big league player. And the only thing that kept me as a big league player is I just didn't get my little mind involved in it. You got to relax and trust God or spirit, the human spirit. You see, the Buddhists are correct. It's the releasing of unlimited human potential. That is correct. The three principles are the three tools that God gave us to create from formless into form and the human condition. You are seeing the connection between the spiritual God and the human being connected together via thought, purity of thought. And you see it at different levels. That's, to me, the most interesting question in the world. To me, how does this incredible magical power called spirit and the human spirit join together? And then if you ask the question, Bo, you will see the answer sooner or later, because you will never stop looking. But you can't dictate when it's going to happen. I never thought at 69 anything was going to happen. And now I'm doing the biggest project in 3P history, bar none. Nobody knows about it. Where are they? They don't know about it. They don't care. That's the point. They don't care. It doesn't agree with their way of seeing. And the Africans are ahead of a lot of the 3P teachers. Ah, that's a tough one for them, eh? But all I'm telling you is that inside you, you have unlimited human potential. You have to learn to trust that. You have to learn to trust the feeling rather than the thinking. You have to kind of relax with it and stop creating all that stress and disagreement in your life. You have to feel the beauty of the moment. This moment is so special. Can you feel that, Bo? It's special. It's for you that this moment is here. Of course, it's for me too. I was excited to come to talk to Sweden. I talk a lot, but I was excited. First of all, I was super glad that Thomas was here because we had history together, and beautiful history, by the way, not bullshit history, really cool stuff. Yeah, Thomas is a cool guy, really cool guy, actually. But sometimes he doubts himself. Oh, bad boy. Yeah, Thomas, you're a bad boy. And Thomas replies, it takes one to know one. Yeah, type of thing. Yeah, lighten up, guys. Not everything is logical. Do you know what the North American Indians call God? The Great Mystery. I like that one. I can't figure it out, Bo. I can't. That's the fun. Do you know what? A lot of people are good in the known, so they get rich, or they get a degree of what they think. Of course, when they die, the kid's just going to piss the money away anyway. But anyway, that's another story. I'm more comfortable in the unknown. I like the unknown. I like being in the unknown. That's where I'm strong in. I find the physical world boring. I still like to go on holidays and, do stuff. I like to play tennis and so on. And I'm a good tennis player and stuff like that. But I like being in the unknown. That's what Africa takes me into. Have I ever been in Africa? I ask you, who's going to voice whether I've been in Africa or not, physically? Not all at once, guys.
Because
that's right.
Because you're asking, I would say.
That's it. Never been in Africa. The guy says he's from Naka Valley refugee camp. I didn't even in Uganda. Where the hell is Uganda? He wanted to learn the 3P, good enough for me, but so no, never been to Africa. Yet helping thousands of people. That's the modern age. And I'm 77 years old. I'm not really that interested in going all over the place and doing stuff. It's much easier doing this, type of thing. This is a piece of cake. I have a cup of coffee. I get up. This is hilarious. I do this big seminar on Sunday with the 3P in Africa educators. I put a lot of promotion into it. I sleep in. I got the Zoom room and I sleep in at 20 after the time. Someone phones me and says, where are you? I says, well, what time is it? And I got no clothes on. My mind's all scrambled up. And I'm the only one who can open up the Zoom room. Did it work out? Yeah, it worked out great. Just the way life is. I set the alarm. A little man came somewhere when I was sleeping and shut it off. Interpretation, Hannah. Yeah, type of thing. So you could see, I'm just an ordinary guy. Yes, I had the best teacher. I agree. But I didn't come for psychological reasons. Most of the people in Salt Spring did. They had problems. But my ex-wife and I did not come. I came for spiritual reason. And that's all I'm doing. The reason I'm successful in Africa is spiritual understanding. Don't forget that. You're a spiritual being, and it's a world of thought. That's all you have to know. Stop worshiping the intellect. I know, like you, in terms of the physical world, Sweden has really, with helping so many people, they really have a very successful model, to be honest, much more successful than North America's model. North America has like really rich and tons of millions of poor, kids on the street, living on the street, women on the streets. And these millionaires have richer than any country, than the bottom 20 or 30% of the countries out there. So it's fucked up. But it's not the answer. The collective energy of everybody together is who we are. Not just Sweden, everybody. The collective, we have to help everyone. Why am I in Africa? God took me there. That's why I'm in Africa. I didn't even know. I had zero intention of ever working in Africa. But if you know me, you'd say, it makes sense. You've always been doing something different, Harry. Frank Sinatra had a song, I did it my way. Harry did it his way. All wrong. All wrong. But it worked out. Because I kept to the feeling of what I wanted. I never gave it up. And I wanted to help people who were suffering. And since everybody else has nothing but bullshit, including Oprah Winfrey, I have the answer. And here's the secret. I kept it quiet. I didn't let anyone interfere with it. I developed it. I let the spirit sing and dance and move around without interference by everybody. We've done it without money, guys. We have a little bit of donation. We have like a library that a doctor from New York paid for and a few other things. With the minuscule budget, I will compare our project to any $50 million project and they won't have the results we have. That's the power of the three principles, guys. Not Harry. Don't give me that bullshit. Not Harry. The three principles are the power. They percolate through us and create. We let them create love, happiness, contentment. Or we don't let them create love, happiness, and contentment. And what does it create? War, divorce, unhappiness. Just the right use or the wrong use of thought. Cool, eh? Cool reality, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm surprised, Bo. I can't figure it out. When did that happen? I'm going, this is so cool. But the reality is, I didn't do it. Sid didn't do his enlightenment. You know what he called it? A fluke. Was that interesting? A fluke. He had no idea he was looking for enlightenment, and it just, and a psychologist in this new age human development stuff said something to him, and it hit him, and he had a psychological breakthrough. Thought, insecurity is just a thought. All right, now I just said it, and you didn't become enlightened, but he did. He didn't become enlightened. It was his first stage to his enlightenment. So he had a two-stage experience. First stage, thought is just an insecurity is just a thought. And he went, wow, do you know what you just said? And the psychologist said, I don't make idle chit chat. I know what I said, but he didn't. Said, and everything all of a sudden, and then 2 days later, he went to Salt Spring, and Barb, his wife, and Mary, his mother-in-law, in the room, and he looks outside the window, and he has a white light experience, and he walks right through that, about 1 or 2 or 3 seconds. And then he starts to cry, honey, I found the answer. That means I'm going to be talking to professors. And she said, she thought he was crazy, but there was something about him that was, it wasn't crazy, it was alive. So it's a spiritual, psychological connection. I'm going to read from my book. I tried to find something that might be interesting. So before the book, the first section is, it's 6 sections. The first section is called A Bumpy Road in Paradise, just to show you that life is a piece of cake. And the last section, which I wrote as something unique to my mind, because I'm very gifted mathematically, is mathematics and truth. Nobody's written on that, have they? I wrote on that. There. Okay, this is part B. Before the worlds of spiritual psychological healing. I just thought you might be interested in that. The key for unifying now that's a story. Remember, but this is just before the story goes. The key for unifying the worlds of psychology and spirit is found in all major religions, but mostly not understood. The Bible reads, be still and know that I am God. The Holy Prophet Muhammad says, if a person is given silence, he is given wisdom. A Native American proverb states, listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows. Spiritual reality is oneness in the moment, existing in a world of no thought, pure bliss, and harmony. Therefore, through this spiritual feeling, we come to understand that A, silence, peace, and a quiet mind is a prerequisite to experiencing pure consciousness. And B, healing is experienced in this state of silence. Personal thinking, which is the prerequisite to being alive, when misunderstood, interferes with the oneness and directs us back into our personal reality and personal opinions. The why is because we are unconscious to the nature of thought. So that's just the prerequisite before the part B of starting with a bumpy road, bumpy times in paradise type of thing. And that bumpy times made me more compassionate to the suffering the Africans have. You see, they have unbelievable suffering. But boy, can they feel good. When they dance, they don't dance like Swedish people. They dance. They let go. They laugh. They love. But then they think. When they go to church, they get free to be one with God, and they come home and they yell at their wife. I don't understand that it's not just in church. It's also, you carry the spirit inside yourself. Always. But if you don't understand about thought, it's easy to get convoluted about it. See, the church just teaches a good feeling, but they don't teach the understanding of the role of thought. They never teach that. You know why? They don't understand their own Bible. Christ has it in the Bible. Muhammad has it in the Quran. It's hard to see the truth with a brand, with a form around it, especially when man is interpreting it. You got to figure out at our little bit riper age, we've got a couple of semi-young people who, Daha and Tanya, who are a little bit younger, but you have to figure out the world don't know what it's doing. And so anything they touch, they contaminate. That's the way I see it. But I still have fun. You know why? I can get really irritated at Donald Trump, biggest asshole in the world. But it doesn't do me any good to think about him. But I still see he's an asshole. You'd be surprised, Bo, what Sid's. See, you got to remember, I knew Sid on a personal level, not just on the conferences. He had lots of personal opinion about the world. Lots. And not all of it was complimentary, let me put it that way. He had opinions. And every once in a while, he'd get lost. And his wife would say, Sid, remember what you teach. Oh, right. He's a human being. But he would drop the negativity very quickly. We hold on to it a little bit too much. That's the secret, Bo. Drop it. Change thought. 3 principles, definition of 3 principles, change thought. That's it. Nothing else to know. As soon as you change thought, you change the feeling, you change what you see, change what happens. And more, better than that, you don't solve the problem, you step into the unknown, where all the answers are. And if you don't agree with me, I accept that. I certainly can't talk to my family about, certain sides of my family about this. So I just have a good time with them. And every once in a while, my daughter will come to me and say, I'm not feeling too good, Dad. Let's have a talk. Then we talk. And then the rest of it, we have fun. But if you think I can push my religion on her, she's too smart for that. It's beautiful. Hannah, I have 3 kids. 2, I gave a lot of advice, a lot of 3P stuff with, and the 3rd one, my son, I just played with. Guess which one worked the best? Yeah. Any questions?
Harry, I'm interesting. I'm sitting here and like I've seen testimonials from the refugee camp in Africa on the YouTube presenting you did with Dicken. I've heard people from, I can just not imagine how their life circumstances are, and they're quite hopeless, and they drink alcohol all the time. They don't care if their kids go to school, and they sort of don't care if they die tomorrow, and something happened. And I hear testimonials about like they get new hope, they put the kids in school. And so what role does mentorship, because of course it's not about Harry, but it's about being pointed at like in a direction, and sort of course hope comes from inside, but if you don't see it, so
Well,
my question
that's
is, it's a bit complicated, but like what role does mentorship and education and like follow up and being there for them and actually care, and so people
it's just
like
energy.
realize
If they pick up on the energy, you're there because you can feel the lift. You're getting lifted, they're getting lifted. So they're my kind of people. They get it quickly.
And you have programs like to introduce them, and or like how?
I have a team of 6 people, and so the ones who pick up the energy, we do weekly sessions with, and then so the first year was highlighted by these 3 African women, and then Jim Beck came on as well. So we had those 5 people. The 3 African ladies now have gone into their own personal life. They've got jobs and stuff like that, a lot, and have become successful in other areas. And the Africans who were students now have become teachers. So what you do is, the concept, Thomas, is they come in as students, and your goal is for them to become colleagues. So you never see them as broken, especially when you see how quickly they can let go. So the alcohol department, which is just an evolvement of their level, of their insights, of breaking free of alcohol, which is not easy to break free of, as you know. I don't mean personally, but you know, in your country, it's a big problem. And in every country, not your country, every country is a big problem. Addiction is the #1 problem in the world. And 3 of them, Miranda has a spiritual insight, accesses the wisdom. He already knew about the love of God. So he has the spiritual part of it, but he didn't, once he learned he could access his own wisdom, he just like that. So the three people who broke free, Miranda, Nehemiah, and Andrew, their wives came and gave a testimony to me of how different their life is. Now that is a big compliment, because women aren't that cool about complimenting their husbands, and they're just like ecstatic about the change. So and then I helped them, the department, give them ideas of how we can be of service, how we can start to expand our service. So we went into another village, and I teach weekly in the village, and then I broke them up into teams of 2, because Phillips is the manager, and they would service an individual to learn how to work with individuals within it. And now they're going into other villages and doing that. And now we want to build a 3P, building, and actually want to get them paid for what they're doing a little bit. And we're talking like, get this, $75 a month, which in Sweden you would go, you mean an hour, don't you? No, a month. So it develops, it evolves, see, God is the creative force of the universe, or thought is the creative force. So there's an example. So, and since I'm not marketing, people are coming to me. I pick and choose who we will train for this once a week hourly thing, and then expand it. And generally we have to pay for their data, because they're not like you have. Like right here, you can be on the internet forever. Them, it's on the old-fashioned data. They pay for the time type of thing. So they can only, so data is important, and then Zahara asked, what is love? The book, there's a free book out, which is written for the African psyche. I wrote it in 2 weeks. It just poured out of me. It's an incredible book. Perhaps the best book out there besides what Sid wrote. We have to put, a thing. And it's free. And you just go to my website and you can download it. And it's in audio as well, read by Jim Beck. Incredible. So that's in schools. So we're in 4 or 5 schools now in Africa. And as we develop all these resources, but it's what they take out. They are the driving force. I'm in Canada. I don't work with the people. They work with the people. And so we let it, the creative element take its power. I don't interfere. The only thing that stops me is sometimes I have personal opinion, and generally speaking, it's wrong. But sometimes I have a feeling something is not right, and I am tough. I go right in there and clean it up. No bullshit. I'm not a sweet guy. I'm a really kind man, but not a sweet guy. The truth is, I am extremely blunt. It's my way. I'm not saying it's for you, Thomas, but I am blunt. You're full of yabinga. That's it.
So what I hear from everything you say is like when they see that they have the power inside of themselves, then the fire starts.
They're like us. When you had an insight, you couldn't stop but share it, right? And
Sure.
and I teach, if you share, you grow. It's the law of God. That's the
You
problem.
sort of throw them in the water, but you stay close to them and see if they can swim. And actually, they discover themselves that they can.
Yeah. So I meet with the alcohol department every Monday morning, and they ask questions, and I guide them with that. And now we're talking about building the department up and stuff like that. It was my idea, but they're the ones who are embracing the idea and taking it into where it goes. They ask the questions, I give them the answer, and then on Wednesday we go into the Sudan village, which there's 79 villages in Naka Valley. So don't think it's one big conglomerate thing. 180 square acres, across type of thing, huge, and miles between kilometers between each village and stuff like that. So they go into the village. I teach that class, and then they go in and work with the individual. So we work creative elements with it and support them as much as we can. Of course, so for that one, I said, okay, I don't like to pay for refreshments, but as you know, it's always nice to have refreshments when you have a meeting, but they're expensive relative to it's all coming out of my pocket type of thing. But when they're counseling, I said, we'll have refreshment for the counselor and the client because it brings a nicer feeling. But if they got 100 people, that's you're getting up there in terms of costs and stuff, especially when it's coming out of my pocket type of thing, type of idea. And I've had to learn to give. You think I'm Jewish? I'm not used to giving out of my own pocket. I'm doing all this work. Every time I come up with a good idea, it costs me money. It's kind of crazy.
And you get so rewarded, I guess.
Well, the reward, see, the Africans pull the love out. See, I have working now with Jim Beck and Mark Williams. Both have, Mark is new. He came in February. He had ideas how it should work. So I have to kick him in the ass 62 times until he woke up. It don't work like that. And then, of course, he didn't want to give money, but the love, once they touch your heart, you give. Look,
I saw someone had their hand up.
Yeah, if a guy is working in 3P and he gets malaria and he needs medicine or he'll die, are you going to give him money? Are you?
Definitely.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's
a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. I don't want to give him money, but of course. That's the way it works. If it touches your heart, you give. In North America, their hearts are like bullshit. They just can't feel Africa. They don't care.
Depends.
They don't care. That's the problem with the world. I didn't care either. So I don't mean that they're bad people. I just mean they're stuck in their beliefs. Me, 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 and me. Is there anything else? No, there's me.
So, but like the key ingredients to
someone hearing?
no, like a community, it seems like it's building of its own power. It's like
Well,
just
it does,
organically evolving.
and it goes back and forth depending. See, because you know yourself, the personal life. If you don't have any food, and you're teaching the 3P, you're still struggling with I don't have any food.
Alistair has a question.
You have to unmute yourself, Alistair.
It wasn't really a question. It was more just I have had the privilege to work. First, I just want to say thank you, Harry. It's been wonderful listening to you. I have so much feelings out of what you said. To do just with religion, as now I'm religious and I wasn't before. But
there's nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful.
And I think 3P helped me there because it made me just observe my thinking rather than just putting a concept behind everything, and then it spoke to me in a different way. But anyway, I spent time in Ethiopia in the Afar region. I was there over a 4-week period on a project regarding female genital mutilation, amongst other things. And I can resonate in everything you're saying, the spirituality. But I think for me was that the ego was just left. There isn't any there. It's just to one side. And so they're just so heartwarming in everything they do. Everything is just,
They are indeed very heartwarming.
I met a girl that was 5 years of age. She woke up in the morning, she worked on the farm, she went to school with 3 kilometers, walked to school 3 kilometers. And when I turned up in a flashy bus, loads of attention, she came to me with a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Right. And it's
it touched you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Came home and I said to my kids, I turn the water off, they're not allowed to shower for the next month. No. I have kids that moan and scream when they can't find their iPhone charger, and there's something not right here. But it's I don't see the ego there. I just that's just one side. It's like they don't have anything else, and they have their religion and they have the family and have their values.
Well, that's why the religion is so strong, because I didn't understand this because I'm non-religious, that when you have nothing, you have to have something to have hope in.
Yeah.
And when you have nothing, you have to have faith that there's a God, because you have nothing on the physical world that makes any sense at all of why you are, a typical story. They lived in the Congo. They had a nice house, not like your house, I give you, but not the one you're living in, Alistair. But, for them, relative standard of house. He has 10 kids, has 30 cows. And he's very content with his life, really. And then another tribe comes in and says, you're the wrong tribe. You have to get out. You're Rwandese. And so they burn his house. They steal his cows. They chop his brother up into little pieces and then burn all the other houses of the other. And he has to escape with his shirt on the back with his 10 kids and wife. And on the way, he loses 2 of his kids in the hustle bustle of the stuff. And eventually he makes his way and he arrives at the Naka Valley refugee camp. He wasn't drinking before he came. But of course, when he's there, got nothing to do, and he's feeling a little bummed out and, traumatized. And so he starts drinking. And then, so life is just drinking now, and he's in this place. And then he hears about the 3 principles, and he connects thought to God, which he calls wisdom, by the way. He accessed his wisdom. And he stopped drinking. And now he's helping all these people. He's 66 years old. 90% of the people we deal with, of course, are young. The old don't live, but that's the story. And when you hear the story, you go, wow, the human resilience is amazing, people. We have so much and has so little hope, so much complaints, and they have human resilience. And here's the other thing, Alistair, to agree to. When I arrived there, there's 79 villages. They all have social programs for the kids to help the kids and stuff, and all this stuff. All volunteer. No government, no subsidy. They're all doing it for free. So there was a structure, but they didn't understand what to teach. And all of us, so we taught youth programs, and guess what happened in the youth programs? The youth changed, and the parents, which are very bad parenting there, the parents don't even pay any attention to the kids. The parents changed because they said, gee, Mike, instead of aggravating me, she's helping me. And the kids changed the parents. The drinkers changed their wives. The programs that were unsuccessful were the organized business programs that had ideas of how to share. They came to the 3P and then dropped out. Same thing happened to Sid Bo. He tried to take it to organizations. Then he says, actually, it's the ordinary laymen that are picking it up. And if that's the way it's going to go out, that's the way it's going to go out. That's the way, one person at a time. Some have bigger hearts, lucky to hear something a little deeper. But the Africans don't. What's really surprising, Alistair, is you had all these programs. They all compete against each other. They don't work together. So I came in and brought them more to work together. They don't like to. They want the credit for themselves. But the 3 principles is a bringing together of all the different people. And now when we did a fundraiser at Christmas, and we just did this big thing last Sunday, they're learning from each other and they like it. But they have a vision. Africa will lead the world. And you know what? They just might. They just might. I'm not saying, no one knows what the future is. No, anyone who predicts that. But I can tell you that the 3P content, that how we have spread, we're the biggest project in 3P history. We're my associate on my team, Jim Beck, he calls it Modelo on steroids. Pretty good thing. And he calls me a bloodhound. I'm really good at sniffing out the projects, type of thing.
We're coming to an end, Harry, and it's been like, wow. Thank you for your generosity and
oh no, what fun. What
beautiful
real fun.
sharing. Thank you.
Keep sharing, guys. Trust the spirit. I know it looks like it will never change. I guarantee it will change.
Beautiful, Harry.
Money back guarantee.
And I am very interested in the book Sahara for free on your
for
website.
free. Yeah, just go to ACT Training, acttraining.biz, and you can download the book. It's in English, Swahili, and French, because those are the 3 languages in Africa. There are others too, by the way, but that's so far what I've been exposed to. And so there's the audio book as well, read by Jim Beck, fantastically read. free. So both, why
Beautiful.
are they free? Africans have no money. You put it out as a cost, no one's going to read. So free. And then I print it out and stuff and get it to the schools and so on. But it's for you. And you'll love it. And it's 12 chapters all about different parts of love. And it's
And we're going to
primarily,
supply, sorry, Harry, just before I forget it, we're going to provide all the information underneath the recording so everybody can.
okay, yeah, I'll give you links to stuff that will interest you about
Perfect.
Africa that we're doing and stuff. I'll send you a list of that.
Wonderful. And how to get in contact with you, and if you want to contribute in any way and all that.
Yeah. I'll send that to you. But Zahara asked, what is love? Is a story between a 15-year-old girl in Naka Valley who meets Bibi, who knows Bibi, her grandmother. Bibi is kind of a little bit like an African Sid, but not talking about the three principles, talking about it from the African psyche. And then in the middle of the book, she starts to read Sid. And agree, because Zahara takes her. So each chapter has a little excerpt of Sid. So I introduce Sid through, not you have to listen to Sid type of stuff, just a little excerpt, and then and Bibi talking for these beautiful, beautiful questions. And she is a wise 15-year-old who's growing in her understanding. And you see her evolvement, and she has a spiritual insight through it. It's a wonderful, easy read. You'll just love it, Hannah. I promise you. You'll love it. Which woman doesn't like the topic love? Have you ever met one yet? Guys, that's a different thing. It's football and beer, but it's type of stuff. So it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And I'm really proud. And I wrote it in 2 weeks. It just poured out of me. Just poured. I'm very prolific. How come? I don't know. I just don't think. And I was teaching all these young people at that time, so they were asking questions. And I finished the book. I'm going to finish with this story, even though you're sort of. I finished the book, but I was teaching this girl, this class, and this 20-year-old young girl said, I had this most amazing experience in Africa. Bo, this is a tough one for you, but the men are the bosses, type of thing. Yeah. In North America, definitely the women. But in Africa, the men are the bosses. And she had the boyfriend, and the boyfriend says, I want to go to this party. There'll be lots of drinking and stuff. And she said, I don't want to go. And he got angry and yelled at her. And she said, no, I'm not going. She just listened to her feeling inside. And he left in a real angry thing. And she felt empowered. She felt incredibly powerful. And then she said, the most amazing thing happened. The next morning, her boyfriend came and apologized. They never apologize in Africa. He apologized. And which even gave her more and brought them even closer together. I says, I got to put that in the book. And that was her moment of insight. I took that story. I just had to, I didn't put it at the end. I put it in chapter 8 or something, but it had to go in. So that's how it was written, from experience like that. That's what you teach, Thomas. You teach your experience in the moment. You don't teach 3P.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And
you have so much wonderful energy. You just like emanate spirit somehow.
I'm having a lot of fun, guys.
I can tell.
Everybody retires at 69, and I started.
Fantastic. There's still hope for us,
I did
guys.
it my way. Of course, I don't sing quite as good as Frank Sinatra, but thank you very, very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harry. What a powerful talk.
Okay,
Wow.
great. Thank you lot of fun, and enjoy the
Thank you
rest of
very
your
much.
evening. Farvel and tack.
Tack.
Farvel, Harry.
Farvel.